You walk into any church on the first Sunday of Advent, and what do you see that instantly marks the change in the season?
Huh?
Yes, purple or pink vestments on the priest, but probably also an Advent wreath. This simple circle of greens with some purple and pink candles has long been an Advent staple for Catholics. But what can it really teach us about this season of waiting? What memories do you have of Advent?
Oh, so many. I have so many from school of, making our own Advent wreaths.
I remember our dinner table always being very chaotic. We had our big wreath and everyone was like trying to play with the fire and my mom and dad are like, no, don't do that, stop.
When my siblings taught me that you can dip your fingers in the wax and have like the wax on your fingers when it would cool off.
One time my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and I all made Advent wreaths ourselves, and I've been using that same Advent wreath ever since.
We've had one for probably 30 plus years.
We light a candle every Sunday of Advent.
It's gotten pretty well used, got plenty of wax stains all over it.
What do you think the Advent wreath symbolizes?
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
I don't know.
I've always just kind of thought of it as a place to hold the candles.
I know that the candles have a meaning.
Love, joy, peace, and something else.
I know it's a circle, which is a symbol for God.
The wreath itself, since it's green, symbolizes life.
You have and I'm gonna say it wrong, is it Gaudete Sunday?
I don't know that I've thought about it before.
I actually hated Advent as a kid. I did not like the Advent wreath. In my family, we didn't have anything particularly in the house, but I hated going to church and seeing that there was only one candle left. That means there's 3 more candles I have to get through before Christmas gets here. So I actually hated the slow countdown to Christmas that, for me, the Advent wreath seems to represent.
We're all familiar with the Advent wreath, but we often take it for granted. There's actually a lot of symbolism that comes along with each of its elements. What do they mean?
What is an Advent wreath? An Advent wreath is a circle or a ring that's often evergreen branches that has 4 candles, 3 purple and 1 pink. Sometimes people add a white candle in the center of the ring that represents Christ, so a Christmas candle or a Christ candle. Well, the circle might remind us of the eternity of God, that God is without beginning, without end. It also might remind us of God's endless love and mercy that He shows towards us. And the evergreen branches are beautiful reminders of us of the new life that Jesus comes to bring us. Why the colors of purple and pink or rose? The purple and the rose of the candles actually match the liturgical vestments that we see at Mass. The purple represents penance and prayer and preparation. It also might remind us of royalty. The first 2 Sundays of Advent, we light the first 2 purple candles, and then it's in the 3rd Sunday of Advent that we light the pink or the rose candle. The rose-colored is a symbol of rejoicing, of joy. It comes from the Latin Gaudete, which is the first line of the prayer on the 3rd Sunday of Advent. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice, which comes from Philippians chapter 4. And so it's called Gaudete Sunday or Rejoice Sunday, because that marks that we're more than halfway to the coming of Christ at Christmas. Some people have attached symbolic meanings to the candles of hope, peace, joy, love. And the whole point of the Advent wreath and the whole point of these devotions and traditions that we have leading up to Christmas is to prepare our hearts for the coming of Christ at Christmas.
It's common to find an Advent wreath in church, sure, but what about in your home? I know I have so many fond memories of lighting the candles on the Advent wreath and singing O Come, Emmanuel around the dinner table with my family. It was a really beautiful way to set our focus on the season. So what can an Advent wreath actually bring to the table?
Right. Yeah, well, first of all, the Advent wreath involves fire. So that always makes it very exciting. We've got fingers going through the flames of the candle. And
we have fights about who gets to light the candle, who gets to blow out the candle. Sometimes we have to relight the candle so another child can blow out the candle.
That's right. So it's a beautiful tradition.
It's just so peaceful.
No, it is all of that, but the Advent wreath does become a focal point at our mealtime. And I think, we've talked a lot about the busyness of the season, and so for us, our days are busy. We homeschool some children are in school, we've got work, we've got all the things. There's a rush of getting the dinner ready, but then we gather together at dinner. And the wreath helps us, I think, to kind of slow down. We sing a song that corresponds to the wreath as we light the different candles of the wreath to remind us of the light that's coming into the world. And so it's really helpful, I think, for towards the end of the day, gathering our attention, gathering our focus again so that we as a family can remember clearly the season that we're in.
The Advent wreath, as you go through it, you get more and more light. And so you watch, the first week you have one candle, the second week, now you have two. And it's one of hope. And then you have, of course, gaudete, glory, joy, and that's the pink candle. And the promise is coming. Look for it with joy.
In some ways, imagine when the sun begins to rise and all of a sudden the color of the sky begins to change and you don't see the sun yet, but you can see the effects of the sun in the sky. In the very same way, as we get closer to the celebration of Christmas, liturgically, the church says, look, the sun is dawning from on high, and so things lighten up a little bit.
It's actually interesting that the church celebrates Christmas for what, for the Northern Hemisphere, will be the darkest time of the year, right? The days are the shortest and the night is the longest during that time of year. And so we're celebrating Jesus, who is the light of the world, bursting into the darkness of the world, the darkness of our own souls. And so we're lighting these candles of Advent, preparing us for that one big reality of Jesus, the light of the world, breaking into our darkness.
When we look out at the world, we can certainly see there's a lot of darkness. We know we need the light and hope that Jesus brings. The flames of the Advent wreath reflect that message of hope, that joyful expectation for a Savior who will be light in the darkness. How can we embody this meaning of the Advent wreath in our own souls?
I think in some ways that the Advent wreath becomes a sign of our spiritual life, or what should be happening interiorly as we go through the Advent season. And what does that mean? That my soul in some ways is getting brighter. That as I enter into the Advent season, as I think about what it means for me to prepare the way of the Lord, as I reflect on Jesus coming at the end of time, as I reflect on him coming into the world in the flesh 2,000 years ago, that as I reflect on those things, as I quiet down the noise of the world, that what happens is God's grace starts to glow brighter inside of me.
And so when the candle is lit, something is lit in you, if you're really paying attention. And I think it should show the church a growing desire, a growing joy, and that the light of Christ grows in us. And so during Advent, actually, all of our suppers we eat by candlelight. And the whole purpose is to remember the darkness, that he came to shatter the darkness. The light came into the world, and the world knew it not. And then when, of course, you're eating by candlelight, at first it's really kind of nice, it's really sweet. Then you start noticing you can't see everything perfectly, and you start longing for the light. And it tells you the soul longs for light. The soul longs for the beauty of God. This is the key. What's most important is that you change your inner attitude and that you try to truly walk through this season, truly long for the coming of Christ, truly enter into this joyful anticipation that sometimes is full of longing, so that you can be filled with joy when Christmas comes.
If waiting is the theme of Advent, then really lean into waiting, what that means. And that's hard, that's a real self-denial, but it's a great way of entering into the spirituality of kind of the silence that comes with embracing the fact that the Lord isn't here yet, and I'm building up this anticipation and this excitement for him. I would also say, just pray with the readings of Advent. The reading, especially on Sundays, not just to go to Mass and listen to the readings, that in itself is great, but to take some time apart from that, either before or after Sunday Mass, to sit with the readings, pray with them, do some Lectio Divina over those things. There's such rich things in there, and the Lord wants to speak directly to your heart. He wants to just speak directly to my heart. And so to take the time and let the Lord do so in a really personal way, and not just to hear it in the context of Mass and the homily, but to let the Lord speak to my particular circumstances in my heart today. It's a really beautiful way of entering into the spirituality of Advent.
I really like the word longing. Longing for something feels like it's this intense desire for something to come, like an eager anticipation, to be so excited for what's on the horizon. And with this idea of anticipation, the Advent wreath reminds us that this season is not just a countdown, but a time of active preparation, of getting our hearts ready to welcome the light of the world. We're not just supposed to sit and watch the time pass. By lighting the candles each week, reading scripture, and singing Advent hymns, we focus on building anticipation for Christ's coming. If you don't already have your own Advent wreath, consider getting one or making one. And as you walk through the season of Advent, be intentional about embracing the quiet, growing excitement for the true light of Christ. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of How to Advent. I hope you enjoyed exploring and reflecting on all these Advent traditions with our amazing spiritual directors and professors. If you want to watch the rest of How to Advent or are looking for more Catholic content to guide you through this season of Advent and Christmas, you should check out Formed, the Catholic streaming service from the Augustine Institute. We have some great series to help you enrich your experience of this season, like Rooted, a daily Advent reflection series rediscovering the Jesse tree with Dr. Scott Hefelfinger, and The True Meaning of Christmas, a deep dive into the Christmas story and traditions of this season with Dr. Michael Barber. You can join us on Formed with your parish's subscription or start your free trial today. There's so much more content to explore for you and the whole family, so you can check it out at the link below. Thanks so much for watching.